NRL 2023, second week of the finals. New Zealand Warriors up against Newcastle Knights. Go Media Stadium in Auckland. This is going to be a banger. Do or die for both teams. Let's take a look how this might play out. Hey team, welcome back into the Warriorholic. Seems like only yesterday I was doing my review of the weekend's loss to the Panthers. Well, actually it was. But it's Team Naming Tuesday. The teams are out. I'm going to break this down, see how the game might play out. Again, a bit of a rush effort. Sorry, boys. I've got the stats up there, but I'm not going to be able to spend too much time going into too much detail because I honestly haven't been able to do as much prep as I'd like. But hopefully we can give you some insights. For me, just quickly on the weekend, we really struggled up against a clinical Panthers team, as we talked about yesterday. They were so intense. They put so much pressure on us, and we really struggled without that kicking game, not having Shaun Johnson there. He's been named this week. Whether he plays or not is still a bit of a bloody question mark for me. No Volkman on the reserves. What happens if he doesn't play? Do we bring Dylan Walker back in there, or do we go somewhere a little bit left field? On the other hand, the Knights, wow, what a game. One of the games of the season for me up against the Raiders there. Pretty lucky to get away with it in the end, but I think they deserved it. On the back of, I think that's their 10th win in a row. They've been absolutely outstanding. I thought the Raiders played above and beyond anything we've seen from them for a long time to really make it a genuine final. Both teams battling out. Come down to a Ponga conversion right at the end there. Bit of a question mark whether he should have been on the field to take it after that head knock, but hey, he got it done. He's named to play this week, so we're going to have to deal with him. Rightio, looking at how the two teams have gone over the years. 48 games played, 23 to the Warriors, 24 to them. They've snuck one ahead of us, and they've one draw between the two of us. Regular season, we had 16 wins, 8 losses. They had 14 wins, 9 losses, and a draw. Well, we sort of played a lot more consistent throughout the season, a little bit of diff in the middle. They weren't great for the start, but man, they started to come back strong in the back after that. As I said, 10 from 10, finishing probably the strongest out of any team in the comp, potentially other than Brisbane and the Panthers, but I think they're right up there with them. So on the table, we finished 4th, they finished 5th, only one behind us, but points for and against. They did bloody well, finishing with plus 175, and we just had the plus 124, averaging out there plus 6 versus plus 8. But the recent form guides, this is including the finals here, we've had the 3 wins from the 5 games, with the 2 back-to-back losses there. They've had 5 in a row, like I said, 10 in a row total. The last 5 games average scoring tells a picture why this is going to be a bloody tough game for the Warriors. We've had an average of, we had a total of 91 for 116 against with a minus 25 for the first time this season. Same period, they were 133 for, 62 against for a plus 71. So average, we're 18-23 with a minus 5. They're 27 to 12 plus 15. Well, what a difference. That's a 20-point difference on average per game. Man, we're going to have to really step it up, find a way to score some points, because man, they certainly can. Looking at the overall completion averages over the year, what do we got there? 78 versus 76, nothing in that. Tackle efficiency 88.1 versus 87.9, nothing in that. But these stats may surprise a few people out there. We've only got 101 tries, they've got 119. Most tries in the NRL. We're down in 3rd. Tackle breaks, we've got 817. They've got 1,073. They're 2nd, we're 8th. Line breaks, 135 for us in 6th. 146 for them in 1st. Man, they're right up there in those attacking stats. Missed tackles, also ahead of us. We're in 11th, 828 missed. They've only missed 812. Not many people would have thought that unless they went down and broke those out, but man, they've been showing some form recently, right up there, as I said, in the attacking stats. Across the comp, I wouldn't have picked them to have had more tries than the likes of the Panthers or the Broncos there, but shit, it's going to be a bit of a mission to contain them. Rightio, getting into the matchups here at fullback. A little bit of conjecture, I looked at that headshot on Ponga, one into the jaw with a swinging arm, and then he smacked his head into the ground. You could see his eyes were completely dazed. Drops the ball. He didn't get up until Dane Gagai pulled him up. I think it's a bit of a risk to play them, and it's a disappointing way to look at it that a guy's had so many head knocks. Not that I don't want to play him. I'm glad we're going to be, in some ways we're going to be playing, and hopefully we'll beat them with him in there. But shit, that's such a risk to a guy who's had so many problems with head knocks, bro. I hope you stay safe. Hope you don't get another one this week. CNK, he's had a few himself, so hopefully both of these boys stay fit for their whole game there. Two totally different kinds of players there. 21 games for Chance, 19 there for Ponga with his head injuries this year. Average running meters 182 versus only 146. So we know that Chance is that workhorse, grind it out, take those extra hit-ups kind of fullback, whereas Kalen's their linchpin, their attacking weapon there. Tackle efficiency 86 versus 71. Tackle breaks 87 versus 92, and that's in 2 less games. Line breaks 7 versus 21. Try assists 6 there versus 19 for Ponga. That's a lot of try assists for a fullback. 6 tries versus 9. I love my man Chance, but I think when it comes down to it, this Ponga's probably going to be the guy who decides the outcome of this game in a lot of ways. He'll have the biggest impact for them. If he didn't play, I think they're a shadow of themselves. All of their attack is centred around him. He's just probably the most class all-round fullback in the game for me. I know Reece Walsh is doing really, really well, but shit, he's still young and unproven. Ponga, I think, on his day, his size, his speed, his creativity, his ability to step up in the big games, I think is second to none. We've seen what he's done in Origin, so I've got to give him the slight nudge here, but I really do hope my man Chance has a massive game and outplays him, because I think that will be a key indicator onto who wins the actual overall game. Oh man, this is going to be a tough one. Montoya struggled in defence in the weekend last week up against the Panthers there. 25 games for him up against Dom Young, 24 for him. Last couple of games to the Knights before he goes over to Easts. Average running meters pretty much the same, 149, 152. Tackle efficiency 68 now for Montoya with those misses on the weekend versus 81. On the wing it doesn't make a huge difference though, because you miss 2 or 3 tackles and you drop down quite a bit because they're only making a few a game. Tackle breaks 83 versus 115. Line breaks 16 versus 32. And 9 tries versus 25. This guy's a machine. I think we're really going to struggle up against him under the high ball there. Montoya was doing so well with his high ball taking for a long time, but he's really been struggling to get that timing right of late. He seems a little bit fatigued, but I just got to back him. He's got to step up for us and match this fella. Make sure him and Pompey match up well there. Don't get him one-on-one with a big gap outside him, because with the speed and the size of Dom Young, it's going to be bloody tough to control him. I've got to give him a slight nudge ahead in this one. On the other side, we've got the speed and the agility and the flash. Dallin, 28 with 18 games up against Greg Maju, an absolute beast. 21 games for him. 150 average running meters for Dallin versus 200. Man, that's right up there with Toto. Not too many wingers averaging over the 200 metre mark there. 73% tackle efficiency versus 71, basically the same. Tackle breaks 63 versus 173. Damn. I think he must be I think he is the leading tackle break merchant in the comp. Line breaks 21 versus 26. Tries 21 apiece. Big, massive body. Like I said, bustling, break those tackles. Very similar to Toho versus Dallin there. Not as big a body, but definitely he gets the effort. He's got the workload. I trust my man back at home there, scoring in that right-hand corner. That crowd's just going to go absolutely nuts. I'll be behind him. Hope he can get another couple and actually break the Warriors' annual try-scoring record there. 50-50 for me, and that's biased. I think if you're honest, Maju might be slightly ahead here in recent form, but I've got to back our boy Dallin to match him. Adam Pompey got a lot of shit in the weekend, like I said, unjustifiably, I think, in a lot of ways. The tackle misses and stuff aren't always down to him and Montoya. It's what happens inside them, but he's got to get it right. Got to get those combinations, got to trust the man inside him and outside him, because he's got a real challenge here up against Bradman Best. 25 games versus 24. Average 104 running metres versus 132. Tackle efficiency 86 versus 88, which is quite interesting because Best is considered one of the better tackling centres in the comp there. Tackle breaks 67 for Adam there versus 55, so that's good to see he's got one up over him there. Line breaks 9 and try assists 9 versus 11 line breaks and 15 try assists. For Bradman, matching up there with Young on that side. 5 tries versus 13. Man, this is going to be a challenge for Adam. Best probably one of the real form centres of the comp at the moment, but like I said, Adam stepped up and matched most of the best centres in the comp. Had a bit of a struggle there in the weekend, but I trust that he can get up there, match it with another big body here. Use that size, brother. We got your back, mate. The whole crowd's going to be behind you. Hope you lift. Slight edge to Bradman best, if I'm honest. Rocco Berry up against Dane Gagai, young up-and-coming gun versus the old Wiley Fox there. 14 games versus 21. Running metres 70 versus 170. Wow, 100 more metres per game. I wouldn't have thought that Gagai was that much of a metre eater, but that's got to be right up there with top running metres of the centres in the comp. Tackle efficiency 91 versus 94. I rate Berry on his defence there. Tackle breaks 28 versus 145. Shit, they've got some tackle breaks in their outside backs. Line breaks 3 versus 12. Try assist 8 versus 13. Tries 2 versus 4. Shit, Rocco. Gagai's got a bit of a miss in him. He can have a bad game in him. Rocco's had a few errors recently, particularly when we're under pressure trying to catch up to a game. I really hope he steps up, has his best game of the year this year, and beats this old fella. Put him on, run rings around him. Make sure you get up there, put those bloody legs tackles on him, sit him on his ass. But yep, we got to give this one slightly to Dane Gagai. She's not looking good at the moment so far. Teams on the one-on-one matchups. Tamati Martin against Tyson Gamble. Traditionally you'd think that Tamati Martin was a better player, but damn hasn't Gamble stepped up over the past few weeks. Particularly on the weekend there. Got a lot of shit from guys like Willie Mason saying he wasn't worth a pinch of shit, and their whole spine was about Ponga and nothing else. He had a huge game there, particularly after Hastings went off. Tamati Martin's struggling a little bit since he's come back. Just a 7 games for him versus 23 for Gamble. Average running metres 49 versus 69. 91% tackle efficiency 80 against 83. That's one thing that Tamati's got going for him. 2 try assists versus 8, which is not too bad considering the difference in number of games. Line break assists 6 versus 8. So it's interesting to see their outside backs do a lot more creating than the inside backs, which indicates a lot of their tries are coming out wide, not through the middle. No tries versus 6. Look, I think experience says Tamati Martin can match this. Gamble's recent form is great. I'm going to call it a 50-50 and trust Tamati Martin's really going to lift. First home game for a while there. Get it done, brother. Lead the way. Now the big question mark. Shaun Johnson named at halfback. Does he play? I'm going to assume he does, but I'm not that confident he will. 23 games for him. Up against Adam Clune coming in here after Jackson Hastings smashed that ankle again. He's only had the 3 games. Average kicking 516 metres versus 160. Massive advantage there to SJ if we can get him back with that kicking game. Tackle efficiency 80 versus 83. Pretty similar there. Try assist 27 versus 3. Line break assist 24 versus 4. Tries 8 versus 1. SJ plays and his calf's okay. He's got to dominate He's got to dominate this matchup. He's the key to unlocking everything for us. His kicking game, his ability to set people up, his deception, his running game. So much relies on him. If he can't play, I think we're in real trouble. I don't think we can revert back to the Dylan Walker Tamati Martin combination and win this game, to be completely honest. Not enough creativity there. We rely too much on our halves. I noticed that Volkman's not in there, so he won't be a contender. For me, I'd be curious to see Tuaupiki get a run at 6 and give Tamati Martin the 7. I think we've got to get some X factor and some running in there if we don't have that passing and kicking. That would be my option, but God only knows. SJ, I pray you're okay, brother. I want to see you running at full flight on the weekend when I'm there. Adam Whanora Blake up against Jacob Saifidi. 24 games versus 20. Average 175 running metres versus 115. 66 post-contact metres on average versus 41. 97.6% tackle efficiency against 93. Tackle breaks 70 versus 20. 8 tries versus 1. See, statistically, AFB should be all over this, but I thought that was the same last week because his stats are way better than the Penrith props here, any of them. But man, they controlled him. He really struggled here. I think he only had 138 running metres and about 30 so post-contact last week. He's got to step up, Adam. You've got to do it, brother. We're so reliant on you getting that go forward. I hope you can dominate both these Saifidi brothers. Daniel there have 127 average running metres off the bench, so he definitely has an impact as well. But man, oh man, I've got to give this to AFB. He's done it all year. Struggled last week, but I reckon he'll be back to his best this week. Mitch Barnett up against his old club, up against the young gun Leo Thompson. You know, it was interesting, before I looked at these stats, I thought Leo Thompson was absolutely smashing it up. But interestingly, if you break it down, Barnett's got all over him, and he's not making that sort of the metres I was expecting. In fact, quite similar to what Bunty's been doing. So 13 games for Barnett against 24 there. Average running metres 136 versus only 88. Not too dissimilar from Bunty. Average post contacted 49.5 versus 35. Tackle efficiency 91 versus 94. Tackle breaks 22 versus 47. So not making a lot of meters, but he does make a lot of tackle breaks here. Leo Thompson, 2 tries versus 1. I really like this young fella. I think he's a player of the future. Someone I wouldn't mind if the Warriors had a look at to try and pick up as that backup with the second prop behind AFB there. You know, I can't say I hope he has a good game on the weekend, being in the enemy, but be a good match-up here. I hope Mitch Barnett can really put this team on his back as well, up against his whole team. I expect him to dominate with his experience and his aggression here. Wade Egan against Crossan. Man, when I reviewed these guys at the beginning of the season, I had no idea who this guy was. Had no idea, you know, what he was capable of. Man, he's had an outstanding season for the Knights. Great to see he's a Kiwi, and I wonder if he's going to make himself available for the Kiwis, having lived on the Central Coast there for a long time. 20 games versus 24. Well, played pretty much every game this season. Average running metres 52 versus 24. Tackle efficiency 93 versus 90. 5 try assists versus 6. 9 line breaks versus 3. 6 tries apiece. Both vital to each team. I think Crossan with his energy, he doesn't run a lot, but he just seems to be high energy. Makes big plays, makes some big hits, whereas Egan's a bit more of the wily fox. We need his ruck manipulation. We really need him to link up those players when he runs. He got a couple of good runs there in the weekend, but again, died with the ball. Got a great try. Need to see more of that, Egan. We've got to see you really prove that you're the man. I've always wanted to see that you can take us deep into the finals. I hope this is the first step of it. Jackson there, I think you'll be against Frizzell. I'm not sure which side these will line up in with the injury there for the Knights. 22 games versus 21. Average running metres 100 versus 111. 90% tackle efficiency versus 96. Tackle breaks 53 versus 36. 8 line breaks versus 4. 4 tries apiece. Frizzell's numbers are actually quite similar to a prop, and he plays quite similarly to a prop. He gets involved in the middle a lot, takes a lot of hit-ups, but we've seen Jackson do a lot of that recently. We've had a couple of errors from him trying a little bit hard over the past couple of weeks, but we've really got to see him get clinical, get that effort in, get those tackles made, eliminate those errors. None of those silly things like we saw that little flick to try and get it up to Jazz there. Just get in there and put your head down and do the tough stuff. I reckon you can match him just purely on a yardage and an effort area here. You might have it up on forward there and experience, but I think this is going to be a pretty much 50-50 one here. This is one we should win. Marata up against Dallin Lucas. He's only played the 6 games. He's a centre, been put into the second row there. Lucas, a centre there, being put into the second row with Fitzgibbon being out injured. What have we got there? 97 average running metre versus 88, but he's, like I said, he's normally playing in centre there. Tackle efficiency 93 versus 94. Line breaks 6 versus 1. Tackle breaks 36 versus 9. 3 tries versus 1. Marata's an experienced, he's played finals, he's in the grand final last year, up against this young fellow with limited experience, not used to playing in the forwards. Marata, you got to smash this boy, run all over him and get some momentum for our boys, create some space for the outside backs. Let's go, brother, you're going to get this one. Then we've got a couple of the hard-working, hard-nosed grinders there. Our man Tohu Harris up against Adam Elliott. 21 games versus 17. Average running metres 135 versus 106. Tackle efficiency 94 versus 90. Tackle breaks 23 apiece. Try assist 4 versus 1. 3 tries versus none. Man, Tohu, this is your chance, brother. We know you're broken. We know you're going to be fatigued, but it's just another week. We need you to put us on your back, brother. You've got to dominate Elliott. A good player, but he's by no means on your level. He's not as creative. We've really got to get you involved there. Hopefully I've got SJ to take some of that creativity off your back so you can just get in there and do the hard yards. But I'm pretty sure Tohu can win this matchup. Then we get to the battle of the benches. Very interesting contrast here. We've got Dylan Walker, Jazz Tavanga, Curran and Serenin. So we've got a utility, a very small prop come back rower, an edge back rower come centre, cover all kinds of positions in the forwards, and our link man who does pretty much anything there, and Cero, ideally suited to maybe 13 or an edge, but he's been playing a bit in the middle. They've got a bench with a hooker and 3 props. Very, very different there. So Kurt Mann with the 17 games at hooker there. He's not a bad player coming off the bench. Saifidi, as I said, 127 metres, more than his brother who starts. Hetherington not huge running metres, only averaging about 56 metres, so he doesn't play big minutes, but man, he's an aggressive big guy in your face. I've always kind of wondered whether we could get him back and turn him into a decent prop here at the Warriors as well. But and then we've got Croker, not the biggest prop in the world. He almost looks like more of a 13 to me, but he played okay in the weekend. Again, he's averaging about 60 odd metres, so not huge metres off these guys, but they will really strengthen their middle, and it's going to be hard work for the likes of Jazz and Cyril up the middle there when they come on in the forward rotation. But we've got the speed of Dylan Walker there coming through the middle. I just pray Egan can play 80 minutes. Because that way we can use Cero in the middle or on the edge if we need to, rather than putting him into dummy half. So battle of the benches, I've got to pray that Webby's got it right, going for this mobile, high energy bench rather than the big boppers and the props here, because they aren't the biggest smash 'em up bench in the world, but it's really going to be a tough one to see what happens on the night. All in all, I don't know, it's tough to say, but I'm probably the least confident in this game that I've been for a long time. With the Panthers obviously not having SJ there, my heart wanted them to win, but I didn't expect to. But even with SJ playing, this is going to be a bloody tough competition for us. That attacking ability that the Knights have got in their backs, the meters they make, this big forward pack, we're going to have to play at 100%. There's going to be none of this room for errors, missed tackles, individual type of play. We've got to play as a team. We've got to stick to that structure. We've got to play like we played against the Sharks at home there. We've got to light it up. We're going to have, I think it's close to 30,000 people. It's sold out, screaming and shouting. I'm going to be there. I trust the boys can do it, but man, it's going to be tough. No room for errors. But we've got to be that 18th man, guys. Put pressure on those refs to make sure we get the bounce of the ball calls or the 50-50 calls. Give him shit all night and make sure that he gets them, staying inside the 10. Hope our boys all stay safe. We can keep them all on the field. I believe we can win this. It's a toss of a coin. We've got to get it done because I want to at least get to the next round and see how the boys go. I've been here all year. I've been here every week. You guys have been with me. Let's do it again. I'm bloody tired, but I'm looking forward to having to do another preview next week. Up the mighty Warriors. Let's get it done.